Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6 is Samsung's latest flip phone with a new design, camera, processor, and even exciting accessories. I got to spend some hands-on time with it, and today I'll share everything you need to know about the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. But first, hi, I'm Captain Awesome, this is Geekception, and I'll really appreciate if you hit that like button and subscribe as it really helps me out here on the channel. First, let's start with design. The first major design change here is that it now comes in this square design, which is similar to the design language of the Galaxy S24 series. And unlike the Z Flip 5, the sides and back of the Z Flip 6 are now colored with a matte finish. So say goodbye to all of that fingerprint smudge from the Z Flip 5, because on the Z Flip 6 here, it's a bold new design, baby. And I think even more importantly than that, it is now less slippery because the sides have that matte finish. It also comes in several exciting colors such as the hero color, which is blue, yellow, green, and gray. Those are not the names of the color. I'm sure Samsung would have like names for them, but that's just how it makes sense to me when I saw them in person. And another cosmetic difference I noticed on the Z Flip 6 here is that the camera array now has the same color accents as the color of the phone. And Samsung said this is designed in this way because, you know, they know many of their users use cases, so they want you to still be able to know what color your phone is, even if your phone is in a case, which I think is pretty cool. It just adds a little more design flair to the phone. And not that it is noticeable, but the dimensions here are still the exact same on the Z Flip 6 as it is on the Z Flip 5, including the weight as well. Taking a quick specification store of the Z Flip 6, and we can find so many similarities with the Z Flip 5 because they have the same 6.7-inch main display on the inside, the same 3.4-inch flex window display on the outside. The primary camera is now 50 megapixels instead of the 12 megapixels that is on the Z Flip 5. The ultra-wide camera still remains the same at 12 megapixels as well, just like the front camera, which is still the same 10 megapixels from the Z Flip 5. Now it comes with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 made for Galaxy, paired with 12 gigs of RAM now on the Z Flip 6 instead of 8 gigs of RAM, which was on the Z Flip 5. On the left side of the phone, we find the SIM card tray, and going on to the right side of the phone are the volume buttons and power button that also doubles as a fingerprint scanner. Next is the crease, and I would say the hinge. Now, while Samsung did not mention any upgrades or differences to the hinge here, I can definitely notice that the crease is less perceptible on the Z Flip 6, but at some certain angles you can still see it. But when I run my fingers over the screen, I can definitely tell that it is a little bit more refined than on the Z Flip 5. Another thing I noticed is that it just is a lot more straighter when you unfold it than the Z Flip 5. Now going back to the outer window, the flex window right there, what I noticed is that they now have the ability to add multiple widgets on one screen, which means that you don't have to create multiple pages anymore. You can just have a bunch of widgets on one screen on the flex window. Telephoto camera mode. Now, even though the Z Flip 6 here does not have a telephoto camera, it has a main camera, which is 50 megapixels now, and a secondary camera. There is now a telephoto mode that actually zooms in to wherever it is you are placed in the shot. So basically you set your phone down and you take a photo, and with the Z Flip 5 at least, sometimes you're a bit too far but you cannot see where you are standing or where you are sitting. Now it will actually zoom in with software to where you are, because again it has 50 megapixels. It can crop, so it's a crop, but I think, you know, there's a lot of possibilities here. Now, is this quite as good as having a telephoto camera on the phone? It's not. I definitely don't think so, but at least it's nice that we have this, and especially nice that it is software, so you don't have to do anything. You just set it and forget it, and you know that you will always be in the shot. Now, I saw it in action. It was not the most fastest out there, not the slowest actually, but again, I cannot wait to try it out myself. Next, there is a new inclusion of a camcorder mode, which, you know, many people use the Z Flip 5, including myself, in this camcorder mode right here, where you flip the phone in half and you can then record video footage like this. Well, now Samsung is definitely leaning into it, because there's now a camcorder mode with on-screen controls on the Z Flip 6 with a smooth camcorder-like zoom that starts from the 0.6 wide camera all the way to digital zoom. And I must say, in just my eye test, it looked pretty smooth to me. Though I did notice that there were some exposure changes going from the 0.6x to the 1x camera, and I hope I get the Z Flip 6 so I can test it out myself. Next, let's talk battery. Now, the battery in the Z Flip 6 has been upgraded to a 4000 milliampere battery, up from the 3700 that is on the Z Flip 5. And as someone who really loves the Z Flip 5 and who used this phone a lot, especially especially to make like, videos for my social media. One of the sticking points with this phone was the battery life. Sometimes I charge it twice a day, sometimes or 3 times a day, because I actually use the camera a lot. So it's nice to know that they've already bumped up the battery here on the Z Flip 6, though it remains to be seen how much, upgrade we're really going to get in real life use. But I am at least excited that they upgraded the battery. And according to Samsung, because the phone dimensions of the Z Flip 6 are actually the same as the Z Flip 5, they said they managed to, put that extra battery without making the phone heavier, which is, I guess, a nice thing to have. But tell me, would you want a, phone that has the same weight, or would you want it to be slightly a little bit heavier, but with better battery capacity, like let's say 4000 milliampere battery? Let me know in the comments down there below. And a major update that I think the Z Flip 6 is going to benefit from is the vapor chamber that it now has. Now, this Z Flip 5 was a wonderful phone for me to use, but I cannot deny the fact that it gets really, really warm to the touch. And, sometimes, let's say I recorded video and I quickly want to edit it on Instagram or on TikTok or on CapCut, the phone would just slow down to a crawl. And I think it was because of the cooling. It could not get cool enough. So including that vapor chamber here on the Z Flip 6, I think is going to be a massive improvement in cooling and, by extension in performance as well. Galaxy AI, and, it's not a launch without having AI in it, especially, from Samsung, who pioneered Galaxy AI way before any of the other manufacturers early this year. And here on the Z Flip 5, just like the Z Fold 6, you're getting a new interpreter feature. So they had like this tea ceremony where, they had this Korean person making tea for us. And, on the inside screen, you could see a translation of what they were saying. And then on the outside flex window or on the Z Fold 6, the external display, the person you are talking to will also be able to see what you're saying. So you don't need to like, flip your phone back and forth. They just know what you're saying on the outside. You see what they're saying on the inside. I thought that was pretty cool. And if I were someone who loved traveling, I think this would have been something that would come in handy a lot. It is not a Z Flip launch without the cool accessories that we get. And boy, do we have some cool accessories here. So we still have the standard cases as well as the cases with NFC that we know and love with the Z Flip series. But with the Z Flip 6, we're getting an NFC capable card that not only changes the wallpapers, but now the wallpapers are interactive and also the case lights up. Like, how cool is that? They demoed 2 different cases that lit up, and I found this super cool with lots of possibilities here if this were to get third-party support. But even nonetheless, I thought it was just super cool. And in case you're wondering, because it's NFC, it uses a phone battery, but it's really low power, and I don't think it should really take a hit on battery life that much. Okay, finally, what are my thoughts and first impressions about the Z Flip 6 after spending an entire morning with this phone right there? And I would say, the theme of this phone I noticed is refinement, right? So there are many things that are pretty much the same, like the weight is the same, the dimensions are the same, the flex window are the same. There's a lot of similar things here on the Z Flip 6, but I think there are also many differences that actually make this phone so much more appealing. And I guess they listened and fixed some of the issues we had on the Z Flip 5, for example, including a bigger battery so that, we are able to use the phone for longer, making sure there's a vapor chamber. So, even though it's a bigger battery, we can also cool it down and we can get good performance. And speaking of performance, we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 now. We have 12 gigs of RAM up from 8 gigs of RAM here, which I did notice sometimes, for example, switching between, video, camera, and, Instagram or CapCut, it will lag on my Z Flip 5 here. I think that should be much better with the 12 gig RAM. 50 megapixel main camera, which, one of the problems I have here on the Z Flip 5 was not that the camera was bad, it's just that it could be so much better. And finally, we are getting the so much better camera with the 50 megapixel camera there. And of course, we have the telephoto mode, which is a gimmick, a software gimmick, which, maybe I'm calling it a gimmick, but I know for many people, and even myself included, who is calling it a gimmick, I would really appreciate some time where I can just get like a telephoto shot out of the camera, because this is such a fun, phone, the Z Flip 5, when I used it, placing my phones in different places on the street lamp, on the floor, lots of times on the floor, because I have like this, back thing, sticker on this phone. So yeah, I would say the theme of the Z Flip 6 has been a lot of refinement and just turning that Z Flip 6 into what a complete flip phone should look like. So yeah, I would say if you cannot tell right now, I'm definitely excited for the Z Flip 6. I think there are so many things that I'm looking forward to, like taking photos and using the phone in different conditions and just testing it out, seeing how it performs. And also, I think doing a comparison with the Z Flip 5 here as well. But yes, thank you for making it all the way to the video. What are your thoughts about the Z Flip 6 right here? Are you a Z Flip 5 user? Do you use any other flip phone? What features were you looking forward to? Are they here? Are you disappointed? Are you happy? Let me know all of those things down there in the comment section below. And as always, I have been your captain of awesome. This is Geekception. Make sure you text me when you get home so I know you got home safe. And until next time, don't forget to stay awesome. Bye.